Oh, it's a miscalculation. Shit. Hello, Algorith. Put that down here. Make myself a little smaller. Hi, Pauline. Hey, Kareem, how are you, man? You cracking jokes now, Pauline? Yeah, welcome back to the gang. Okay, we're good. Yeah, yesterday was a good day. We came back yesterday for the first time. And it was a really good day. I was chatting a lot though, so I didn't draw a bunch. We only got 2 drawings done, so I'm just gonna continue with the reference I had. Trying to get my chair all squared away. Okay, there we go. You guys can hear me okay? So I'll make sure last time the audio wasn't coming through. What's wrong with my hair? Hey, 4. Everything's working? Okay, cool. There we go. What are you working on, Boline? You have a lot of commissions. Is it for one specific person? a bunch right now today. I'm just doing some sketches and some VTuber art. Oh, okay. So you work closely with a VTuber, I guess, for a lot of stuff? I want to see Asuna wearing McDonald's party hat. Yeah, I don't think I'm. I'm gonna do Asuna, but I don't think she's gonna be wearing a McDonald's party hat. Oh, has an essay project going. Kareem, I showed it yesterday. I really have just started. uh, but it's going good. I did a bunch of sketches, and then yesterday, 2 days ago now, uh, I was working on this. I showed this yesterday. So this is the first, like, official piece for it. And it's going well. I feel confident about it so far, you know. Pretty much everything is unfamiliar territory because, you know, I haven't really done clothes or hair or inking or coloring for that matter. Thank you, ma'am. And then I have some illustrations planned and stuff. It's gonna be a big project, but I hope to, you know, cruise through it pretty fast. I know some of them are gonna come out terrible, and that's okay. It's the whole goal in trying to get better. They drew it wrong. Which might be the case. Probably this part here. Hey, Candace. It's funny, most of you guys are not in this time zone, so it's all like nighttime for you guys. I hope it's not too late for anybody. Uh, 6:48 here. Oh, living an hour in the future ahead of me. He knows what's gonna happen. Ask him for lottery numbers. It's nice to have some company for the late night painting session. Oh, that's good. Oh wow, it's only almost midnight there. Cropped image for reference. Oh yeah. Sometimes I like using reference that is obscured, whether because it was cropped or like the other day we drew two eyes even though one of them had an eye patch. You know, I'm trying to make sure that I can solve what's going on because I should know. Yeah. Um, Yesterday I asked about what people use to stream traditional art, right? I keep forgetting to share what I use. I'll post a photo of it on Discord. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, because every time I tried it, just like the camera got in the way of what I was trying to draw, and it was just such a pain in the butt that I gave up on ever doing it, really. Hey, Mr. Fahrenheit. Ugh. How's it going? It's not terrible. I'm not as good with the looking up at heads perspective. Hey Rick, I'm good. I'm doing good. How about yourself? Contemplating if you should get Hades 2. It looks really pretty. I never played the first one. I'm usually not a big fan of roguelites. So I wasn't sure if I'd like it. But again, it looks pretty. I use a box. You mean for constructing the head, Rick? You should, it's good. I don't want to get Hades 2 yet because it's still in early access. I want all the content. Isn't it cheaper when you get it on early access? Not always, but... I did that for Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't buy it in early access because I was like, no, I want to wait until it's polished. Especially for such a story-driven game, like I didn't want to relive it multiple times, like just to get the experience, because it flattens it, you know. For head rotation, if you can't rotate a box, you definitely can't rotate a head. Yeah, no, you're right. At a certain point though, like once you know boxes, like sometimes if I get confused, right, I'll draw a box next to the character. Like I can already tell I've already fucked this up. Because right now the way that I've drawn it is like, it's not that exaggerated. Like that, right? But we actually have an upward angle, although it's very subtle, so it's kind of hard to... So it's like we're looking down on it is the way that I drew it, but the reason why this looks complicated is because it's almost, that front plane is almost straight on because you're not seeing underneath the chin. Now I'm wondering, so we're looking up at her, but she also tilted her head towards us. But what I was trying to say, Rick, was that eventually, like, you can do as many boxes as you want, but eventually you do have to graduate, so to speak, to drawing like this, so that you're not constantly like, you know, it takes a lot of time if you're like, I gotta draw out the box and then put a head inside it every single time, right? So that is kind of what I'm doing. But I do sometimes, like I said, draw the box when I get confused, which is now. So it should be more. Draw a bigger box. Like this. Right? And I've drawn it like that top one there. So I do have to fix that. It should be a relatively easy fix. I just have to, I think what's confusing me here is the hair. So there's like, can I draw on this? There's her head here. Bloop. 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 And then her hair comes on top of it. It looks like it's a plane that goes backwards, right? But it's just her hair that's sitting on top of her head. So we will hopefully fix that. Hi McCool, how's it going? I like Hades. I'm 50 hours in and I'm having so much fun. Wow. Okay, guess I really need to try Hades. What's the release date for Hades 2? Do they have one yet, or is it just kind of amorphous at this point? We don't know. So we're gonna have to do that. All right, I think we fixed that perspective. Which I actually have to thank you, Rick, because if you didn't say anything about that, I probably wouldn't have realized how badly I messed it up. So thank you. I think her head is, there's a little bit of a rounded point, so it's not going to go, forehead's not going to go all the way there. That should be about it. Still can't tell if that's right, but in Hades the story doesn't repeat after each death. You kind of unlock more of it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, another thing with the whole box stuff too is that there's complications that'll come up, you know, when you move away from the box, because you're dealing with a rounded shape. It's not like a perfect box, which is what I'm dealing with here. It's kind of frustrating. animation up a bit. Hi, Tokidoki. Good to have you back. Want to know that Zeph, which fundamentals of drawing you are mastering currently? Is this character design? No, not really. This is mostly just like head features. When I started to draw heads bigger, McCool, I realized that I was like, when you draw big and small, you have to know very intimate details of whatever you're drawing, and then that's when you draw big. And when you draw small, you have to subordinate all the detail. So I spent a lot of time subordinating detail with smaller things. So when you draw a tiny eye, right, like you can just do that and make a little suggestion for an eyeball or something. And that's tiny and that works, and you can, do that a bunch of times. But when you draw a big frickin' eyeball, right, now you need to know the anatomy of it more. What are those eyelashes doing? You're actually going to see maybe some individual eyelashes kind of thing. You'll see the I don't know what it's called, the thing that's in the corner of your eye. You're going to see all the details of the iris and all that stuff like that, right? So it's knowing, now that I'm drawing bigger, it's like redrawing this stuff to know, like, okay, how do I actually draw eyes when they're this big? Noses when they're this big, when I'm not just drawing a line that's like really quick, right? Now I need to actually know the anatomy of each individual piece. Well, it's kind of, it's anatomy, if you really want to get down to it. But yeah, I'm also getting, as I'm doing this, I'm also getting to learn or master head proportions, making sure spacing is okay. Are you guys watching any anime? Of course, Candace. Or head anatomy, yeah. I just finished Tokyo Revengers, which was amazing. It's not done, but the anime is not all caught up yet with the finished work. I think it's all finished, but yeah, it was amazing. I'm ever so slowly watching One Piece because I never did. And what else? I feel like there was something else. Windbreaker. It's a new one. There's only like 3 episodes out. I really like it a lot, that one. It's another fighting one. I don't know why I like student battles. What about you, Candace? You watching anything? Rose violence lover. I mean, shonen, not necessarily shonen, but anime just does really action scenes really well. For One Piece, I stopped around episode 700 and couldn't find the motivation to start again. Oh man, that's a really long way to go. I remember when I was younger, I stopped reading One Piece, even though it's like one of my favorites. I think it was in high school. I can't remember what arc it was on. I want to say it was like Thriller Bark. Is it Thriller Park or Thriller Bark? Thriller Park, I think. And I don't know, I just wasn't a fan of the spooky stuff, even though it got a lot better. And then I picked it back up, and then I've been a huge fan ever since. So sometimes you need a break. Windbreaker looks interesting, might start watching it again. Wait, you already saw it? This is clearly looking over here. Move this over a little bit more. There we go. Oh, bye McCool. Good luck with your character design. Currently watching Kaiju number 8. It's absolutely hilarious and the fight scenes are awesome. Oh, I want to check that one out. I read the manga a little bit and it was fun. You'll have to show us your character design when you're done. Cool. I'll be working on one myself soon. Alright. Let me get some perspective in you. I like Kaiju more than I thought I would. It's really fun. I'll have to check it out. Sometimes the anime makes stuff even more funny, you know? Yeah. Hey, CEO of Cats. Something wrong with that. Head poses are more challenging. fancier once I add the hair. Oh boy. Do you know the artist by the name of Angel Ganev? I don't think so. Let me look it up. No, never seen this person before. Looks like he's a YouTuber or influencer. I'm surprised they have a Western artist singer for the ending and opening. Oh, they do? For Kaiju? That's interesting. Have they ever done that before? I know that some songs have like English words in them. But I didn't think that was... I thought they were all still Japanese artists. One Blood and One Republic. Interesting. Interesting choices. The ear, which is going to screw me up. Because it's going to be higher. I hear it's one of the biggest budgets and marketing campaigns for an anime in a while. Interesting. Probably giving it a big push then. What am I drawing here? It's just some head sketches, trying to study more about the head and the features of it. also trying to challenge myself with more difficult perspectives, because I have trouble with ones like from below, like what I'm doing now. Thanks, Mark. um, this one is proving challenging. I mean, you can tell, like, it's great that the hair covers up the cheekbone and the forehead and everything, because I can't friggin' figure it out on my own. Oh, it's frustrating. Such a challenging angle to draw. I gave up so many drawings from the same exact angle. Yeah, it is really frustrating. Ow! Just hit my ankle on something. I should do my official. It's been an hour. Gotta stand. Everybody can join me up here. Yeah, this is a challenging angle. Okay, CEO of Cats. I'll catch you later. I guess I have to put you guys over here. It's often challenging due to how the jawline isn't defined, so it can easily end up looking unappealing. Yeah. A lot of, especially anime artists, because they're trying to simplify everything. Even when it's like you're looking up at the character, they'll kind of find ways to not show that the under plane, which is what this artist did, because it looks right. And you may not actually see any underplay. I might have to get rid of this. Sometimes the rules, I might actually just have to bring that jawline up a little, the chin up. It's too far down. Sometimes you gotta break the rules a little bit to make things seem better. There was that piece of reference I showed one time where it showed a photo and then someone doing a photo study from it. But when you draw exactly what you see, it can sometimes flatten out. Obviously, this is another artist's work. I'm talking about like real life. So if you're drawing the anatomy of a person, if you draw the lines like where they are exactly as you see them, it can flatten out the drawing and make it look stale. And also just ruin your perspective. So you have to actually, that's why we're designers. I mean, there are some people who do realistic art and that's what they want to do. But if you're, looking to do anything beyond that, like illustration, character design, in any style other than realism, you've got to design. We are designers. Uh, and that means sometimes sporting detail or breaking the perspective. I remember I had a teacher for color and light, and he talked about how in movies a lot he showed us an example from, I think, Shrek. Is it Shrek? Or Shrek 2, or one of the Shreks, where he was like at this building, and he showed us how the light source that they have, they would like wrap it around the character, and as they were painting, even though the light would only like come at them, and only light up a little bit of their face, they would physically paint the light wrapping around them, even though that's not possible in real life, because they needed to show more of that form, and to tell more of that story. So you break stuff, even though it doesn't make sense, it does make sense, and people will buy it. If you break it too much, obviously, then you break the illusion of what's happening. So you have to be careful to balance what you break. That's why you need to know the rules, so to speak, so you can break them appropriately. Anime art style really loves their pointy chins, so whenever an angle technically hides that, it breaks the stylization illusion. Yeah, I like how there are artists that do it really well, like oh my god, what's his name? The Bleach artist is another reason why I like Bleach a lot. His art. Kubo. He, especially his upward angles, he has really sharp lines for like the nose and everything. He's very good at not every single one, mind you, but he's generally very good at drawing upward shots of his characters without destroying that illusion that you're talking about where they have like pointy chins and noses and stuff. He's very good at that, and so I like to look at him for that kind of stuff. Really accomplished, anime styled artists know how to get around that. But yeah, that's definitely one of the more challenging parts. Could be a good idea to practice the fundamentals first before studying stylized art. I think practicing the fundamentals in stylized art is okay. I don't think just because it's the fundamentals doesn't mean you have to practice in complete realism. I feel like when you start, that's all you're really gonna know. Like you're not gonna jump to cartoon characters probably right off the bat, except maybe when you're drawing on your own. But when you draw a box as fundamentals in perspective, there's not really much stylizing to be done. You can give it character by like bending it and stuff, but it's a box, so. Yeah, I mean, fundamentals, if you're talking about anatomy and stuff like that, like, yeah, you'll start out. That's a tricky thing to talk about, I guess, because you'll start out drawing like very specifically all the anatomy so you can understand it, right? And then you start stylizing it or designing it, I would say, so that you can make it more appealing. But I think to some degree, even when I was learning the fundamentals, you are stylizing it because you're drawing a simplified version of the anatomy, right? You're not drawing all the like. Sometimes when you look at somebody's like deltoid, for instance, there's like bumps, right? Because it's broken up into like 3 pieces, I think, and like when you first start learning how to draw a deltoid, or is it the deltoid? The shoulder, whatever. You usually draw it as one mass, right? So you've already stylized it at that point, and then you learn more details later on where you can potentially understand more of the muscle that's going on there. So to some degree, you actually are stylizing your fundamentals because you're simplifying them, and simplifying them is stylizing them and designing it to some degree. Anime manga styles are a good example on using a lot of abstraction without looking too cartoony or silly. Yeah, for sure. Lighting in movies are super staged. Reality is full of cases where color and lights and perspective creates optical illusions. If you drew 10,000, 100,000% anatomically accurate action pose, it would actually not fit into the lot of art rules. Yeah, true. One time I read a post where a person could guesstimate the height of an artist based on how they drew backgrounds or their most common angle. That's interesting. I always said that people who are just learning how to draw faces, they either all look the same or they look very similar to themselves, because like, especially if they have family, right? Like my female portraits always reminded me of my sister for the longest time, because that's who I saw all day. Hi, leopard fur. One problem I have after studying the human anatomy, my character started to look too muscular. It just doesn't fit with the face. I have to scrap a painting because of that. Hard to find a balance. So you're trying to draw a character that has like less muscle, but you're still trying to define the anatomy. That's tough. I feel like that's the case for, like, especially in anime style, like trying to draw toned down anatomy, which is usually for like female characters because it's all soft, right? But you're still trying to suggest the anatomy. So yeah, you have to learn different ways of designing anatomy. It can't just be all like original. When you first start studying, you're going to draw probably all your characters super ripped because you're trying to define each little piece, right? There's a thing that we used to say in school where you're going through your render monkey phase, which basically meant that you finally learned how to render, so you're rendering everything on in your illustration because you're learning, right? But you know, you don't want to render everything 1,000% because you need to subordinate some detail to focus the eye where your illustration is going, right? Some things need to be like softened and edges need to be lost. So yeah, you'll learn how to draw different kinds of anatomy, design different kinds. Imagine a Disney face with a muscular body. That's what I had. The overall design and proportion is not working, so I'll start over and simplify it. I mean, sometimes you do need to start over. But yeah, just don't be hard on yourself, because that's a different, like, you're going to have to learn how to draw different designed versions of anatomy. One size doesn't fit all kind of thing, you know? And that's a difficult thing to do. The game I'm working on is going to involve a lot of small symbols, and it's honestly my Achilles heel. Hard for me to draw minimalistic because it just looks unfinished to me. I mean, minimalistic, it's probably because it's one of the harder things to do, right? People think the simple stuff is the easiest, but it's actually the hardest because you don't have any busy details to distract you from any like things that aren't working. So busyness can actually create visual variety, and that makes it more interesting to our eye. So when you simplify everything, if you're not good, you don't have all that busy visual variety to help give a little spark to it, you know? Yeah, so minimalistic design is just really, really difficult. But you'll develop an eye for that too, I'm sure, for it. Just gonna take time getting comfortable with it. Hi, Perspective Warper. Alright. Alright, get back down and do this. Let's do it! There we go. It's fun though. Ford, do you ever do graphic design or is it all um, painting type stuff? Painting, drawing. I'm mainly painting. I'd be better at graphic design if I didn't hate Illustrator with my entire heart and soul. Why? It's not bad. I don't hate Illustrator. Well, actually, I should probably agree with you. I did used to hate Illustrator a lot until I started doing graphic design. And then I started appreciating it a lot more. I wish Adobe didn't suck so much, but you know, what can you do about that? Stop. Oops, this. Thankfully, we always have 2 or more artists per team. I can ask others for help if I have to make a game logo. It's not awful, it's just for a different purpose. You're not supposed to use it in the same way. Like, people can make drawing stuff. Like, you can use like this weird painter tool, but it's not designed to work the same way. But yeah, I think it's just done that way so that it is really frustrating when they change things that are similar across their programs for no reason. Yeah, it's not meant to be used as a drawing program. Sorry. Who thinks it's so hard to draw hands? It's not so bad. I definitely used to think it was a lot harder. But once you understand that it's just really just an annoying amount of problem solving, and then once you do enough of it, you'll get the hang of it. It's not so bad. It's just supposed to do that. Okay. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but I'm gonna call that done. Hands are tricky because all the fingies. I can draw hands pretty okay, but I always have to go back and readjust the roundness of the fingertips. The fingertips are hard, I think. Especially at certain perspectives. Like when it's from the side, it's... Oops. Like you can get away with really simple stuff, but when it starts like coming at you, it becomes a pain in the butt. And then of course you got to get the nail in there. So, but yeah, if when you do the hands you just group up the fingers, right? This is the palm. Say that, and then I want to group up just that. I don't know why I did that to the thumb. Let me just do that. If you group up the fingers, it makes it a lot easier. Kind of think of it like a glove. Like one of those little the ones that like cover the whole hand and then it can just like split off into different chunks. So like put 3 fingers together and leave 1 out, or 2, 2, 3 and 1. All right. We've got another similar angled head. I just want to torture myself today, I guess. Can draw hands pretty okay. Oh, you already said that already. Keep your line art so clean. Mine is always a mess. um, I don't know. I think I have like a habit of just cleaning it up. Uh, I try to keep my lines very intentional. Mm. If you have trouble with your lines, they usually suggest, hey, Mikul, usually suggest using a pen, because it helps you think and be very intentional with your lines. It's not necessary. And I can't like I can't confirm that it like teaches you that. But it does get you into that mindset, you know. Yeah, for I do undo for my lines, but I am trying to. One of the things when you're learning, I think a really easy thing to fall into is like grabbing the selection, right? And then just tapping things over, or like, oh, this mouth is too high, I'm going to bring it lower. And I don't want to do that because it'll curb your learning like really hard, because you'll never learn how to draw things with the right proportions, the right spacing, because you're always fixing it with these special tools, right? So if I screw something up, more than likely, because I don't have a job that I need to go to, right? I'm trying to learn. If it was like a job like Four was doing his work for the casinos or whatever, I wouldn't give a shit at all. I'd just be be trying to get that shit done as fast as possible. But as for yourself, I erase and do it again, and it hurts because sometimes I know it's it just has to be like the chin has to be tapped up a little bit, you know. If I'm doing like a finished piece and I want to get to the painting faster, I might do it there. But once you get good at that too, it's faster to redraw it, you know. It becomes faster because you've learned how to do that quickly. It's pretty good there, I hope. Yeah, I definitely do struggle with some stuff. I imagine when I do like architecture, when we do some environments and stuff, I'm gonna be drawing like straight lines and be like, nope, 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 nope. But we'll see what happens. Oops. Uh, thank you. I mean, you should look at because I just tried inking some of my own stuff, uh, which is I feel like even more intentional line work, right? Uh, and I'm not good at that because I've always kept things kind of sketchy, even though it is clean, as you say, not as clean as like inked lines. And if you look at Arucelli, she's got a bunch of videos on Twitch, like saved, but hers are, I mean, she's had a lot of practice, but hers are perfectly inked lines from the beginning. She doesn't do any sketches anymore. I mean, I'm sure she does in her professional work and everything like that. But when she's streaming, it's just the perfect line, you know, and she inks it right from the get-go, right? Um, Mine is still as clean as it is, sketchy, you know. So that is the next step that I'm taking with my art right now, is trying to move in move into the next level of intention. um, which is that inked cleanliness, which is even harder. A lot of artists do line art by pretty much just cleaning up their sketches. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if I'm gonna like do what she does, where it's just like start line. I feel like I like to explore. Obviously, I'm doing a study right now, but when I'm doing my own work and I'm exploring a sketch and stuff, I don't want to start with clean lines. I feel like that might restrict me a little bit. It works for her. I feel like I won't like that. I'll want the freedom to explore. Maybe it'd be helpful to join Inktober this year. Have you tried that before? Uh, Only like a couple times, but I did because I wanted to ink. I actually bought some traditional stuff. Oh, you know what? Where did I put it? At the end of the stream, I'll grab it. I know it's here somewhere. Someone had someone who I really liked, who does really beautiful inks, and I can show you their work too. Uses these tools, and they suggested them, so I bought them. I bought them like I don't know, a year ago probably now. I haven't touched them yet, but I will very soon. Line art is one of those things where I think an artist's style can really show. If you had 5 different artists line art the same sketch, you'd get 5 different looks. Yeah, for sure. It is one of the... Everybody has a different way where they want to put emphasis on, or whether or not they even put emphasis, because some are just like straight the same weight. But a lot of people put emphasis on the line weight, how much, how little, and where. And that really makes a huge difference. One spot where I don't have enough time in the stream, but I'm almost positive I made the spacing here too much because I can see how thick that neck is. So I would be tapping this over. The neck should not be that thick. Feels like there's enough here, so that's weird. Hi, CEO of Cats. I'm cool. It took me time to find light width that felt right for my style. Yeah, that's good. Can't stop yourself from cross-hatching. Copperplate prints? I know one, but I can visualize their artwork, but I don't remember the name. It's a old-timey artist. Yeah, no, Kim Jong-gi has more of that like Eastern, like big ink brush look. Not always. Sometimes he does things a little bit more precise, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word though. One of these. I'll stop them. Yell the moment I remember. Sorry, I forget to. Yeah, I gotta figure out what the hell is bothering me here. What is going on? Alright, obviously the mouth is too wide. Clean that up. This. I always make the head too wide for some reason. Like, I always think I'm shrinking it down and still goes too wide. Too much. That looks a bit more appropriate. Well, sometimes you fail at drawings. A good tip to get the proportions right is to draw lines from the edges of the drawing and use it as measurements. The edges of the drawing? Oh, you mean like this to figure out the spacing, like this? Yeah. Again, at a certain point, I don't know if you were here when I said that. At a certain point, you're going to move away from measuring stuff because it doesn't really work, especially for every pose and stuff. Like if you were to draw the figure and you're measuring 8 heads high every time, like you're not going to be able to do that for every pose, every perspective, right? You're going to have to abandon exactness so that you can figure it out and problem solve on your own. Your eyes have to learn how to see this stuff without you measuring every little detail. Same with like reference side by side. Like drawing 1-to-1 is a good thing for beginners, but as you move on, you want to steer away from that so you know how to draw in different sizes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not trying to exactly copy the reference. I am trying to get the structure and maybe improve upon it in my own way. Sometimes what does happen though is I get trapped by the reference and it ends up screwing me up more than helping me, and like if I put it away I'll actually draw it better. It's It's okay. You guys don't have to give a bunch of suggestions. Sometimes I just fail at a drawing and I just move on. I might look at it later and then see what might have screwed up, but usually it's just better to move on. Your brain figures this stuff out. You'll move on to the next one, and then you'll learn something new and be like, oh, I see what I screwed up on that time. Or you'll look at it later and be like, oh, I can see it. Yeah, I mean, you're always measuring in your head, right? Like, it's not when you put down, any artist puts down like the eye and then another eye, they're measuring in their head. I'm just saying you can't be marking up your drawing every single time, like measuring it out and trying to figure the distance, and it doesn't work like that. You're gonna restrict yourself a lot. Okay. Good night, McCool. There's not a lot of time to do this. I'll draw her a little smaller. Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious how you're doing it, but I just don't. I'm just not measuring like that anymore, I suppose. For me, I've done enough measuring. I'm always trying to go on feeling and on feeling out what looks right. And then when I can't figure it out, like I literally don't have the information in my brain, I gotta go study something. And sometimes I don't get it, from the first one. You gotta go to multiple pieces of reference until the one that you get clicks something in your brain, so that the next time you draw a pose like that, you finally understand it. That's a thing too. Didn't really thought where I could post it in there. In the Discord? Anywhere really is fine. I think in the general chat, just because we're talking. You're also supposed to put it in the voice chat thing if you feel like it. Just because we're on stream, that might be appropriate, I guess. Oh, yeah. Cool if they read dedicated channel for it so the knowledge won't be lost and would clog up the main chat there. I mean, if I make a dedicated channel for it, it will get lost in other, like, tutorial stuff. So, like, somebody already mentioned that. And just like, there's no way to, like, people would have to scroll through forever just to find stuff. Like, we've already had people posting videos and tutorials and things like that, so. It stays relevant as long as it can stay relevant. I would need to build like a dedicated resource page and organize things like that. And then that I don't think I would do on Discord. So. Doesn't have a good way to organize messages. Yeah, basically. It's not really a great place to filter, organize information or anything. I don't know. Maybe it's something to think about in the future to have, like, because I wanted to make resources like that, but maybe I can have community made resources section in the future or something like that. Have to check them all, make sure they're appropriate, but I mean, it'd be kind of cool. Funny when I put my mind to it, and I actually do. I can do them really fast. Sometimes not so well. Yeah, it'd be cool though. Just sometimes ideas outpace the capacity to actually do it. Yeah, tell me about it. I definitely feel that. Okay, guys, I am done for the day. Thank you for joining, and we'll be back next week, of course. Probably try to finish, or at least sketch out some of the sword art stuff so I can just do it with you guys. But yeah, we'll see what's up next. Yeah, thanks for coming by, guys. It's not a bad idea either, CEO Cats. Something to think about for the future. Alright, guys, have a good day. I'll catch you all later. Thank you for coming by. For CEO of Cats, Candace. Cool, although I think he already left. I'm not sure who else is in here. Toki, it's good to see you again. Yeah, see you guys next week, hopefully.